kiddo. I'm Grandma Goodie, and I'm here to tell you a Bible story. But first, Bo wanted to come up and get a hug. I think he just was lonely. Anyway, Bo, you need to go away so I can tell the kiddos a Bible story. Go on, Bo. Go on. Okay, now that we got Bo out of the way, have you ever been on a field trip? Well, when my children were in school, long time ago, I used to go and help out with the field trips. One time, we went up into the mountains and there were big redwood trees and flowing streams and little chipmunks and flowers and all kinds of beautiful growing things. And we were out in nature. And the teacher was trying to teach him stuff. And there was this one little boy, Richie, who was just into everything. He was pulling on the bushes and he was jumping in the stream and getting all wet and splashing the other kids. So I tried to help out by talking to Richie a little bit. And so I called Richie over. I said, Richie, come here. I want to show you something. I want to ask you something. And so I reached down and I picked a teeny tiny little flower that I saw. And so I'm going to put it right here. And I put that little flower right there between my fingers. And I said, Richie, take a look at that little tiny flower. And I want you to look inside it. What shape do you see inside there? And he looked and he said, oh, I see these little lines. And oh, I see different colors. And so I had him describe to me how many petals there were on that teeny tiny flower and all of that. And suddenly Richie got this very puzzled look on his face. And he said, how did that flower make itself like that? And so I took Richie aside and I said, would you really like to know? I could tell you a story about that. And he said, yes, I would. And so I said, well, Richie, I have good news for you because that little flower is just an itty bitty part of what God created. There's a God who loves us, who created everything. He created the heavens and the earth and all the flowers, and he created that little flower and he designed it just so that the colors looked all good together. And Richie, just his little face lit up and he said, oh, someone created that? And I said, yes, Richie, God created that and he made it beautiful because he loves us and he wanted us to have a beautiful world. And then Richie, he looked all around and he saw this giant redwood tree and he ran over to it and he put his arms around it wide and he looked all the way up. And he said, did God create that too? And I said, oh yes, God created everything and it's very good. And so I'm going to tell you a Bible story that is the Bible story that made me able to tell Richie what we knew. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters. And the Spirit of God was a-hovering over the surface of the waters. Then God said, let there be light. And there was light. And God saw that the light was good. Then he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness night. And evening passed, and morning came, marking the first day. And then God said, let there be a space between the waters to separate the waters of the heavens from the waters of the earth. So I guess so far we got some light and we got a lot of water happening. But God says, let's separate out and let's make some waters up here, and he's going to make the sky. Well, have you ever thought about what's a cloud? A cloud is a way that the water from down on earth gets sucked up into the sky, and the clouds carry it around, then it comes back down as rain. And he called the space up here sky. Then God said, let the waters that are on the earth flow together in one place and be separated from the ground. So this is the ground, and he called that land. And then the waters that were collected together, he called seas. And God looked at the land and the seas and the sky, and he said, that's good. And then on the land, the Lord said, let's make vegetation, let's make things to grow that has fruit on it, and those little fruits will have seeds in them, and so that they'll make more of fruits, they'll grow more of the same kind. And the Lord also made other kinds of vegetation. Like here, I just made what looks supposed to be a stalk of corn, but he made all kinds of growing things. Anything that grows out of the ground, like vegetables or fruits or any kinds of plants. God saw it and he said, that's good. And then God said, let lights appear in the heavens to separate and to mark the day from the night. And so he put a big light up there for the daytime, and he put a different light up there for the nighttime. And he said that these lights would be to mark the days and the seasons and the years. And that's what happens. I don't know if you've noticed that the seasons always go in the same order. It's like winter, and then springtime, and then summertime, and then fall or harvest time. Those seasons always go in the same order. And you notice there's daytime, and then nighttime, and then daytime, and then nighttime. Those always go in the same order. And God set that up in the beginning when he made the sun and the moon, and he set them on a schedule to keep us on track, and that's been going on forever since then. Now, I want you to be able to read this for yourself in the Holy Bible exactly the way God said it. So let me show you where that is. This one, you're going to look in the Old Testament, and the name of the book is Genesis. Now, that word Genesis means beginnings. And the chapter is chapter 1. Very first chapter in the Bible. And then the verses are verse 1 all the way to verse 31. And if you're using the secret code, you're going to look for GEN, the number 1, and the 2 dots, and then 1 through 31. I want you to remember, Grandma Goodie loves you, but God loves you more.